It's quite unfortunate that we are no longer breeding cadres that understand the dialect of the struggle. Any of our gathering, our neighbors, the people around us must realize that today some people are meeting. It's not for you to come to program and just sit down. They will be singing, you will not sing. And we have an idea. If you cannot sing, you clap. You can't be redundant. Thank you very much for coming. On behalf of the Lagos State branch of CDHR, from the greatest Liberation Center, we welcome all of you to this year Dr. Beko Lolari and Nyesom Kuti annual lecture. Today make it 14th years that we have lost Dr. Beko. Dr. Beko is a medical doctor and is a human rights activist, and is the pioneer president of CDHR. Is the founding president of CDHR. When few people gather together to form a group known as Free Femi Aborisade Committee, and later the group metamorphosed to become CDHR. The first person to name the organization is Beko, so let's call it Committee for the Defense of Human Rights. And from that day, sometime in April 1989, CDHR become a full-fledged civil society organization, a mass base, and courtesy the effort of our late hero, Dr. Beko Lolari and Nyesom Kuti. We have so many presidents of this country who have died. A lot of people have died. Nobody celebrated them. But there is an adage that says, "Didu didu, nikolo dudu." What it means is that the righteous one will always be remembered. And anytime we are celebrating Beko here today, there are different groups that are celebrating Beko. Ordinarily, this event is supposed to take place tomorrow because Beko died on 10th of February 1996. And because tomorrow is a Monday, And today is supposed to be our general meeting, and we felt that we cannot gather you today for general meeting and then be inviting you to come back for backup program tomorrow. That would be too tedious, and that's why we are considerate about it, that let us fix today as backup program. And we have chosen a very robust topic, the way forward on the fight against corruption and the security challenges in Nigeria. All of us are fully aware that the present situation in this country, we are battling with two things. One, the corruption and security. In terms of security, it's no longer safe for Nigerians to travel by road, even those who are traveling by air, despite the plane crash, whatever. But the road is now more difficult for anybody to travel. It's either kidnapping or armed robbery, or how do they call them, S-men attack. And because the state of our roads is no good area, and our security operators or apparatus have failed the president, both the executive board at the state and the federal level have failed in terms of security. Governors were paying security allowance from our hard-earned tax money. What are they using the security allowance for? Nowhere is secure. Just a few days ago, somebody said he escaped being kidnapped at Ife-Ibadan Expressway. Definitely, initially it has started from the north. Now it is degenerating gradually to the south. If care is not taken, the keg of gunpowder we are sitting down on can explode at any fucking time. That we need to be security conscious every time, everywhere we are. We have a very intelligent speaker that will do justice to this topic. A person of Mr. Babatunde Olalere, BOG. As we are speaking, his men are downstairs waiting for him. So already he's on his way, because you know this our road is somehow. If you have missed U-turn, the next turn you have is at Dalemo. So we exercise a little patience for him while he will address the issue of security and corruption, security challenges and corruption. But the little I can contribute is that the corruption in this country has eaten so deep. Corruption started from the local government to the judiciary, to the legislators, to the executive. Judiciary is even a worse scenario. Now, to perfect bail, we have been saying this a number of times. We are not canvassing for you to go and pay certain amount of money to bail your relatives at police station. But because the corruption has eaten deep in the judiciary, to perfect bail in court is more difficult and expensive than that of a police station. The process is tedious. The money involved, I can tell you, if you go to any police station today, you see the inscription, bail is free. Go to any court, I challenge you, go to any court, you never see that inscription in any court. Let guarantee that bail is free. And we will still continue to shout that bail is free. Bail is free. And by the time you want to perfect the bail in court, the registrar is there to extort you, the prosecutor is there to extort you, the, how do you call it, the police that will inspect shorty house or address is there to extort you. At the end of it, you don't find out that you are full of regret that if I had known, I would have paid that some amount of money to settle my risk. Corruption is everywhere. The only way we can stop corruption in the elected position, we have been saying it time after time, that let them make our elected position unattractive. Let our elected position be for only those who are ready to serve. Don't let us pay bogus salary to political office holders. The same way we pay teachers. That's why nobody is ready to be a teacher. Because it's a position where you put all what you have, but you are getting people. That's why everybody wants to become a politician. Because if you by chance have an opportunity of getting a portfolio, it's an opportunity for you to amass wealth to yourself. I'm happy nowadays we are seeing head governors rolling to jail. But we are not get there. It's not about picking few. Those that were having petitions against, like the likes of Abeshis, Fasholas, when Buhari went to appoint them, there are groups springing up with petitions, different groups springing up with petitions against Fashola, against Amechi, and host of others. But the good thing is that if you are genuine about the fight against corruption, you must wash off your hand from any of your candidates. Allow them to face the process of interrogation or investigation. Then whoever that has escaped, then you reappoint them. I'm not surprised. What we are having today, we are promoting corruption, we say we are fighting corruption. A president in this country went for a treatment, parked his private jet, presidential jet somewhere, and they are paying ransom every day. What is the benefit of I hire a cab or my car, my driver took me somewhere, I was admitted in hospital. Then I'm already admitted and to pay for the bed, pay for the treatment. Then I will still pay for where my car is parked. It is the height of corruption. If not because people are shouting, people are condemning it, the president of this country who claimed to be fighting corruption travel for treatment, and where the presidential jet parked, it was reported that they were paying certain amount of money every day for grand rent. What level of corruption do we have more than that? That is that. You can see the issue of security. People have been complaining about this ban on Okada, tricycle. A lot of comments have flied. We, the CDHR Lagos branch, have refused to lend our voice for one reason. It's not that we support any restriction. The issue of restriction is constitutional. The issue of restriction of any movement, it is constitutional. A governor cannot wake up overnight from the wrong side of his bed and make a pronouncement that will be at the detriment of the electorate. This is the same governor that during the platform, he said he will not ban Okada. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
And he said we are going to regulate. I believe that part of their regulation is when they bring corporate Okada riders. I'm talking of Opay, GoKada, Max, and all about. Even when this their so-called restriction is coming up, the hammer was on them. I read somewhere when is it Max or GoKada said they invested about 5 billion naira in that project, and it's to the knowledge of the government that they perfect all their necessary papers. And now, even this restriction, to some of us, we look it as political. But people have been able to convince some of us that it has to do with security. Because it is not outright restriction, it is in 6 local governments and 9 LCDs. I think they may come up to defend it the way they like. But we are saying, when you are facing out Okada, the only alternative we know to Okada is tricycle, which is Keke Marua. And if you are banning Okada, you are banning Marua, and you want us to resort in trek. If anybody telling you trekking is an exercise, I disagree. There is a difference between exercise and trekking. If you are trekking in this kind of heat, sun, you are suffering yourself, and at the end of the day, you resort to something else. There's difference between exercise and trekking. Anybody who is doing exercise will know you deliberately. It has to do with kilometers and determination. Okay, I want to jog from here to Ahmadiyya. It is deliberate. I want to jog from here to Abule Egba and turn back. We have people who jog from their house to a stadium. They deliberately they are doing exercise. And they will not go with this kind of dress. They will put on sportswear. But when you are going to your office, you dress like a vice. I be like this comrade that stand before me. And then you get to the bus stop. When you decide to trek with this kind of dressing, something is wrong. And mind you, I always say it, that before you make any law, ensure you weigh it, the advantage and the disadvantages. If the disadvantage is more than the advantage, you don't need to mention that law. Some of you are aware that it's quite unfortunate that people are suffering it now, most especially the Ikeja operators of Keke Marwa and Okada. Late last year, when we have a hint, when someone will come out with a draconian order, they call it executive order, that they have to ban Okada, they have to implement the traffic law, where a seatbelt offense is becoming 20,000 naira. A traffic offense will lead somebody to prison. And then the CDHR Lagos branch from this liberation center, we call a meeting, emergency meeting. We fix a date for protest. On the day before the protest, we circulate our flyers here and there. I have one-on-one discussion with Keke driver, Ikeja, Marwa, and Okada. All of them assure us that we will be there. You know the funniest aspect of it? Thank God that this branch has members. I wouldn't have surprised on that day if we have less than 20 people on the road. The Okada riders were busy, they were looking at us, they were walking. The Keke were even attacking us on the road. When we are dragging the road, they said we are blocking road. While we are protesting for their interests. On that very day, some of you who are that rally know what we face at the assembly. Some people wrote petition to assembly that we should not be allowed, that we are a sponsored group. Yes. And on getting to the gate, against normal tradition, their security men barricaded us that we will not enter. But for the mere fact that we are aware that there is a certain petition that will not get to assembly, and we insisted. And that's why we said the people united can never be defeated. We unite in our voice with no any Marwa driver except anyone who is our member. No any Keke or Okada driver that is in that protest. And we did this successfully. Till today, the petition is before the assembly. They said they will look at it. But because the next thing we're supposed to do after the explanation is for us to go to court. We are unable to go to court because of the present situation of the organization. If we go to court, somebody may come up tomorrow and say, you understand what I mean? So, and that's the reason why else we would have been in court challenging that order. They wouldn't have had opportunity to do this. And now when they do this, I want to tell you, the implication is that they have rendered so many people jobless. Those who sell Okada parts, those who sell Marwa parts, those people, mechanics who repair Okada, who repair Marwa, they have rendered them jobless. And if we are saying we are looking for security and we need a crime-free society, we don't deprive people means of their livelihood legitimately. It is obvious that it's only CDHR Lagos branch under my leadership that has been at the forefront in agitation that street traders should not be arrested. We have been the only one that challenged the Lagos State government from Fashola, from Ambode to this date, that any anti-people policy will always come up against it. But the truth of the matter is this: is our people ready to liberate themselves? The answer is no. And I used to tell people, that's why I say freedom cometh by struggle. Nobody will give you freedom in a platter of gold. You have to fight for it. But if you have to fight for freedom, your future, your destiny lies on your hand. You must rise to fight. Because presently, we learned for security reasons, I won't mention names, that the ban of Okada has to do with security reports. Has to do with security reports. And in Nigeria today, if we did not hear, no day, you not hear a news of attack. You see the S-men, or recently they said Boko Haram strike at Borno, they strike at Kaduna. From day one, this Boko Haram, Nigeria has spent a lot of money on this security, the same to fight against Boko Haram. Till today, they are still spending money.